Hey, hello, I am Mr. C. I had some people ask me about our Pugmill, about how to operate this Pugmill, what to do, how to troubleshoot, that kind of thing. So I decided to do a few videos real quick to discuss that. Zoom in on this right here. This is a Peter Pugger VPM-9. I have several out there in Twitterverse that have this same Pugmill. We're just going to talk about that right quick, and that's what's going to be on the next few videos. Okay, hey, we're back. So we have our Pugmill operation. There's a couple things you need to do to get this thing operated. So come around to this side here. This is what I have my students do when they come in. They plug it in. There's an on button on the side. It's going to flip up. You know it's on because you see the stop button. It comes red. I'm going to go ahead and open up the lid. If you can come inside, you see my kids are already pugging. They got clay inside. What we do is we have two containers. We have a container of dry. Come check that out. And then we have a container of wet slip. Then we also have a container of powder over here that I have kids pulverize down to powder, and we use that powder when we get all the way to the end of the pug, or all the way to the end of the mix process, so we can get that right consistency of our clay. But we'll catch that in the next quick video. Okay, we're going to go to the next part of the pug process, the mixing. So I'm going to add a little bit of dry. I'm going to take some chunks, and since they're you know, pretty much my first period kids, they're pugging for a goal. I'm not going to put as much in, but I've got some small size chunks. I don't have humongous chunks. If I put humongous chunks in, it's going to be mixing all day long. But I want to make sure I break them up into small pieces like this, and that's going to allow the mixture to, you know, when I set it on a certain speed, it's going to break itself down a whole lot quicker. So I've got some dry. This is how I'm going to scoop it out. I'm going to use a ruler. I know this is like yuck, gross. I can't believe you're doing it that way, but this is just how we do it. Tap some of that in. Back. Close my lid. Make sure that it seals pretty good. There's a screw all the way down here on the bottom that you can twist that screw in so that when you go to squeeze it, it's a whole lot tighter. I'm going to set it towards mix. I'm going to hit start. It's going to start mixing. I've got a speed knob over here. When I go to mix, I make sure I mix about halfway, okay? And as you begin to figure out how your Pugmill works, the speed, it depends on what phase you are as far as your mixing. If you first initially put your clay inside the kiln to mix it up, you're going to want to go quicker. If you are getting to the point where you're going to pug, that's when the clay pushes out, then you're going to want to go a little bit slower. But it all depends on where you are in the process. Okay, we're back. So we're in the middle of the mix of our Peter Pugger VPM-9. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get it to the pug phase. I'm not gonna push it all the way through, just because my students in first period, this is their project. Okay, they've got to get to 50 pounds. I think they're right around the 20 mark right now. But I'm gonna go ahead and close my valve, my air valve here. I'm going to leave it on mix, but I'm going to turn the speed down. I'll turn the vacuum on, and it's going to start filling up with air. Now there's some important things when it fills up in air. You're going to look at the air gauge. If the air gauge doesn't go up all the way around to about 25 pounds, 25 PPI, then you have some issues. Then you have some figuring out what is going on here, okay? We'll give this a couple seconds and see if this stabilizes. If not, we're going to turn it off. We're going to try to troubleshoot. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and turn all this off. Let's see, turn my vacuum off. So this is the air chamber. So I open that up. There is clay inside here. This clay can have an effect on holding air pressure. Okay, so I'm gonna clean that off as much as I can. Clean around the metal seal, right? Because if this has clay on it, the rubber, it's not gonna wanna hold air. Okay, so I wanna clean that off as best I can. I also gotta make sure there's no water inside there too. Okay, but that should be cleaned out pretty good. I'm also gonna open up my lid and I'm gonna look at the black seal around there. If you see that there's clay on there, then yes, there could be air leaking out. So I'm gonna find a wooden tool and I'm going to try to clean this off as best I can. We'll catch you on the next video real quick. Okay, so I'm cleaning around the seals of the lid of my Pugmill. Trying to get all this scraped off as much as I can. I'm gonna take this from the top of the lid. Instead of putting it back in the chamber, I'm just gonna put it back over there in my bucket because I can only have so much clay in here. This holds 25 pounds. When we go to pug on a regular basis, it's around 22 and a half, 23, 24. Rarely will you get 25, but I'm gonna take all the little excess here, scrape this off as much as I can. So hopefully it's gonna hold air a little bit better. Close it down. I'll go ahead and turn it on, back on mix, on a slow speed. Turn my vacuum on, close the air valve, wait for it to stabilize. Now there is a little trick that we do sometimes if it doesn't hold pressure. We'll tap on the chamber here. And that's gonna help to seal this area just a little bit better. Because this chamber here is being pulled down by our vice grips, but this has nothing that's holding. Now you see that I did this, the air pressure went up, okay, the air pressure rose. So we are close to pug stage. That means we're about to produce clay. Am I gonna get to that point? No, because I don't wanna mess up my first period kids process, and they're there. I'll post that video tomorrow morning when they go to pug. But other than that, if you got any questions about how to pug, email me or send me a text on Twitter. Thank you. Hey y'all, we're back this morning. We went through the process of how to operate the mixing phase of our Peter Pugger VPM-9. But my students are back in here. They're gonna talk about how to do the pug phase, and they're losing it right now. They're dying. They're like, I can't believe we're gonna do this. I'm laughing, I'm cracking up. But we're gonna run through this process and show you what you need to do.
Okay, so after you get the right consistency mixing, when you get ready to pug, first thing we do is we crack it open and we take a sample and we show our teacher.
What do you mean by a sample?
We grab a piece of the clay that was in there and put it in like a little ball and squeeze down. Make sure there's like no cracks forming all around the edges right away when you just barely touch it, and hold it. And after,
So you're checking for consistency?
yeah.
Okay.
And then we clean around all the edges on here and right here, just so the air will stay in and so no air will leak out in case there is clay around here. So then after we clean it out and do that, we shut it, and then we look inside here, the vacuum chamber, make sure there's no chunks of clay in here, and we just wipe it out. Because then if there's clay in there, then the air pressure also won't hold.
Okay.
So then we turn on the vacuum, and then we flip the switch to make sure it's on pug. So then we turn on the vacuum, and we flip this switch over, just so the air will hold. And then we wait a couple of seconds, wait about 10 seconds, and the air doesn't go up. Then we start just hitting on this, give it a little bit of a boost.
Gotcha.
There you go.
So we're almost ready to pug then, right?
Yeah, Cool. So then once the air pressure gets around the 25 range, and then it stays around this area. We wait about 10 seconds, just make sure it's holding air pressure.
Okay. Let's do it.
So, then we make sure our speed's down pretty low to start off with.
Why?
Just so we don't pug it out too fast and don't lose some air pressure.
Okay.
And then we just hit the start button like you're gonna mix.
Okay. What if it doesn't start coming initially? What would you do?
You up the speed a little bit and see if it comes or not.
So just turn the speed up a little bit, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And then
Hey, look at that. And that is how you pug from our clay recycler BPM-9. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to shoot me an email on my classroom page. Thanks, Britton.
thanks you.